Hi guys, Donald Trump won a bit of a victory over Colombia this week. The new president wanted to send migrants to the South American country by military aircraft and in a pretty demeaning way, which resulted in some pushback from the Colombian leader. The planes were refused permission to land, which infuriated Trump. The US president then responded with massive tariffs on imports from Colombia, causing their leader to back down. Trump got his way and no doubt achieved two other goals. He boosted his support with his fans, but also had a chilling effect on any other country that is in any doubt that Trump is willing to use economic sanctions to get his own way. So where does this leave Britain? Well, the same people who were demanding that the UK stand up to the EU during the Brexit negotiations are now picking Trump over their own country, it seems. Here Labour's Barry Gardiner laid out the problem of Trump being a bully, and the response from GB News and Reform UK was pretty shocking. Have a listen.
So I'm with Donald Trump. I think it's refreshing. I think some realpolitik, a bit of real government is very refreshing, and it worked. It worked very quickly.
Well, yeah, I've got to say, the Colombian president at one point, I think he was offering his plane.
He was offering to take them back on his plane. Exactly.
Back to Colombia. Barry, your thoughts?
Look, I think the important thing is, what does it mean for us in the UK as to the way in which we deal with Trump? Rupert says, look, you need to stand up for yourself. And you say, well, Trump stood his ground. Trump does always stand his ground. He tells you what he wants. And then the thing is this, if he doesn't get what he wants on the first time of asking, he then goes to enforcement. And, you know, sometimes that's bullying. In this case, it may have been perfectly justified. But we've got potential trade deals here. And Trump is talking about trade, putting tariffs on goods coming from the EU and potentially tariffs on goods coming from the UK. Now, that is what I think we've got to be very careful about. We've got to stand our ground when it comes to trade with Trump, because I don't think he respects people who don't stand.
Well, Barry, I don't entirely agree with you, because, again, what's happened, and again, this is what's happened to the entire West, this is why we've basically suffered what we've suffered, is Germany had a huge trade surplus with America, as did Europe. We don't. No, we don't. You're quite right. But Europe did. They're also not paying for the defense of Europe fully. So as you know, Europe has not contributed enough as a percentage of GDP to keep Europe safe. America, or USA, has had to do that. She's been very generous with the world. She's actually outsourced a lot of her manufacturing to the detriment of a lot of her workforce, as indeed have we. So what the West has been is incredibly unselfish. And I'm not sure the rest of the world really appreciates what we've done. I don't necessarily agree. I don't agree that the West is actually helping itself by weakening itself, outsourcing all its skill bases, and ending up effectively with a vassal economy, relying on quantitative easing and all sorts of other financial gerrymandering. We need to get back to some proper...
You've thrown a lot into that pot, Rupert. Let's focus on the issue of the imposition of tariffs to get what he wants. Now, I hope that we would be agreed here that we have very high standards for our food in this country. And we've talked in the past about the potential threat to our farming communities of, chlorinated chicken,
APR.
You see, you try and deflect, Rupert, but there's a serious point here. And it's, are we vulnerable to the sort of bullying tactics which America could use against us? And I think we've got to be very careful in the way in which we negotiate with Trump to avoid experiencing, what in other circumstances you might look at and say, well, that's just America insisting on what it wants and being strong. But actually, if it comes against us, it's our farmers who could suffer, it's our manufacturers who could suffer, it's our exporters who could suffer. You imagine if they put tariffs on Scotch whisky going into America, that would hugely impact our economy.
I'm interested in your language when you call it bullying, because the other side of the fence would actually say that what Donald Trump is doing is exactly what he said on the tin. He's putting America first. He's
Correct.
Pulling the levers that he can pull. In this case...
Sorry, which side are you on? Which side is Rupert Lowe on? Because I'm getting the impression that GB News and Reform UK are on the side of Donald Trump. They're not actually on the side of the United Kingdom. So you notice what the response here is. Donald Trump is acting tough. We have to admire that. And then when it came to using the word bully, the host here has a problem with the word bully. Saying, well, the other side. Who is the other side? Are you talking about yourself here? The other side has a problem with the word bully. Donald Trump is acting like a bully. Now, once again, does GB News want Britain to succeed, or do they want the United States to succeed? Does Reform UK want Britain to succeed, or do they want Donald Trump to succeed? Because I keep getting the impression that they're on the side of Donald Trump, not the side of the United Kingdom. And that's a problem. You know, it's part of their name, Reform UK. Do they want to be the 51st state or something? Because if Donald Trump is acting like a bully, they should be demanding that the British government stand up to him. And all I hear in interviews like this and other interviews when it comes to Donald Trump is how the UK needs to pander to him, needs to grovel. Government ministers need to apologise. Now, compare this with the type of language that we heard from GB News hosts and GB News commentators and Reform UK, or before that the Brexit Party, where they were talking about the European Union. We need to stand up to the European Union. We have to be tough. We have to bang our fist on the table. All of that rhetoric is completely gone now. When it comes to Donald Trump, once again, do they prefer Donald Trump over Britain? Do they want the UK just to bend over? Do they want the UK to grovel? To hand over everything to satisfy Donald Trump? Do they actually believe that Donald Trump cares about Britain? I covered a video recently where somebody was claiming that Donald Trump cares more about Britain than Keir Starmer does. This is the type of rhetoric we're hearing. Do these people not understand what Donald Trump has ran with? America first. They even refer to it themselves. America first. What do you think that means? America first. Not Britain first, not the UK first. No, America. I actually believe it's Donald Trump before everything else. But you want the UK government to pander to a bully. What do you think a bully would do if you pander to him? Now, what happened with Colombia was a disaster for Colombia, and it's going to have a chilling effect on other countries. How do you deal with Donald Trump? He's actually serious about imposing economic sanctions on himself, in a sense, because it's, of course, his consumers that pay those tariffs. But he's got away with it. He's able to bully a country to take back people or take people that he doesn't want. Now, when he's confronting the European Union, it will be different. The European Union is much bigger than Colombia, of course, and the trade the EU does with the US is completely different. And, you know, when it comes to taking people out of the country, it's a completely different situation. But we've got a taste of what he's like. And you would imagine British politicians will be suggesting that, no, we don't pander to this guy. We stand up to him. As we always do, we stand up to bullies. But what I'm hearing from Reform UK and GB News is the absolute opposite. Pandering to him. Talking about how he's right. Well, if Donald Trump starts imposing tariffs and engaging in some sort of trade war with the United Kingdom, which side is Nigel Farage and Reform UK going to be on? Well, I have a feeling it's going to be on Donald Trump's side. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.